How do I talk to my children about masturbation? What age should I start talking to them about masturbation? And how do I even start the conversation? These are some of the questions that I get asked in my coaching. And as a transformational coach, it is really important that we start having these conversations sooner rather than later. So today I'm going to walk you through how important it is to have these conversations from the ages of 2 right up until 15. We'll break this into two groups, so children between 2 to 7, what to say to them, and then children between the ages of 8 and 15, what to say to them. So I'm going to be sharing some practical tips, mindset shifts, and ways to create a safe space for your child to understand their body. And as you know, guys, I'm Ruth. I'm a transformational coach and therapist. And if you'd like support or help with prepping for these conversations, feel free to reach out on the email below. So let's get in. So starting with the age group between 2 and 7, this is where your child is naturally curious. So they are exploring, they're learning what feels good, what's private, and how to relate to their bodies. So if your toddler or young child is touching their genitals, it's completely normal. It's not sexual in the adult sense. No, it's just sensory exploration. So here's one of the golden tips that I want to share with you. Parents normally say to me, when is the right time to have the big talk? And this is not just one big talk. It's a series of small, simple conversations over time that form building blocks that help your child understand that their body is good, that it's busy growing, and that curiosity is normal, and that privacy is really important. So if your children are between the ages of 2 and 7 and you see your child exploring and touching their genitals or their breasts, you could say something to your child like, I know it feels really nice when you touch down there. Lots of people like how that feels, but that's something we do in private, just like when we go toilet or when we have a bath. Try using body positive language. Avoid words like naughty or bad that can lead to shame and confusion. And let your children know that their body is theirs. They're not in trouble, and it's okay to explore, but just in private. Teaching your younger children is really important, especially about the concept of privacy. As young children, often they don't have the concept of privacy, or they don't understand privacy rules unless we teach it to them. So a good way to explain it is we all have different parts of our bodies. We have private parts of our bodies. That means they're not for other people to see or touch, and we keep them to ourselves. Just like going to the toilet, it's not wrong, but it is private. So try and make these conversations part of your everyday life. Tell your children when you do see them exploring down there. You're welcome to do that in the room or the bathroom, and remind them that their body is wonderful and it's okay for them to explore when they're alone. So reinforce that they can come to you, keep the door open, and that you're their safe space. So now we're going to be going into the second age group between the ages of 8 to 15. And at this stage, your children are more aware. So they may have already started exploring, or they have spoken to friends or seen things on the internet. So some may feel curious, some might be confused, and others might already be carrying shame. So our role as parents becomes so much more important here, because we're not just giving information, we're shaping about how our children feels about their bodies and their development. So what do we say to older kids? Because by now many kids have already, or they already know that touching their bodies feels good. What they need is permission to be normal, and they need guidance around boundaries. So you could say something like, I know you've probably discovered that touching your private parts it can feel good. That's completely normal. Most people do it. It's a natural part of getting to know your body, but it's something that's private. So if you do feel like doing that, it's best to go to your room or the bathroom and make sure that you have some privacy. This will reassure your children that they're not weird, that they're not doing something wrong, that they can come to you about these things. Let them ask you questions and stay open and unshockable. I know my teen has definitely asked me some shocking questions, but because we have such a good relationship and the door's always open, I've had time to think about some of their things and come back to her with answers, because the last thing I would want her to feel is embarrassed or shamed. You can also say to your children, I know that, this might feel awkward to talk about, but remember, it's not weird, it's human. Everyone is curious about their bodies at some point. And then pause. So allowing them or leaving some space for them to speak and to tell you about what's going on with their bodies and their emotions. One of the most important tips that I share with my parents during coaching is to create a safe, shame-free space for your children at all times. Know that they can come to you with anything where there's no shame or judgment. And how to do that is by using calm, confident tone when you speak to them. Avoid any sort of punishment or emotional reactions when they speak to you about masturbation. You can use books and stories or body positive videos to support what you're trying to bring across to them in the message, and reinforce on a daily basis that the body is good and it's theirs and it's something to be proud of. And guys, remember that talking to them, to our children, about masturbation, it's not about encouraging or discouraging masturbation. No, it's about teaching respect for self, respect for others, and educating them about body literacy and confidence. Children that are informed, accepted, supported are less likely to carry shame into adulthood and more likely to have a healthy relationship with their bodies. And that's what we ultimately want for all our children. One of the parents that I recently coached asked me if there were some other keywords they could use with their children, because their children were between the ages of 2 and 7. And some of the other keywords that I opted for them to use was, you could say to your children, let's talk about self-touch or touching yourself, or let's talk about exploring your body, or the other one that I used was exploring your private parts. So let's remember, guys, that masturbation is a natural part of development. Let's start having and normalizing these conversations with our children so that they can understand their bodies better. It's okay to talk about it, even if it does feel awkward at first. It does get better with more conversations, and it creates connection, and trust helps. It helps build trust between you and your child. So whether your child is 2 or 12 or 15, the most important thing is to lead with love, honesty, and openness. Let them know that they're safe, that they're supported, and they're welcome to ask you anything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you'd like support around how to have these conversations with your children in a way that's calm, clear, and empowering, feel free to reach out on the email below. And thanks for being here today. Until next time, take care.